Ever get that feeling, like when you think about investment banking, that it's kind of shrouded in this like mystique?
Totally.
It's all like high stakes decisions, $1 million deals,
Behind closed doors, yeah.
happening behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're cracking those doors wide open.
Love it.
With a deep dive into what it's really like to work in this world.
Let's do it.
We've got some juicy insider info to sift through. Think of it like our own little treasure map, right?
Okay.
To navigating this whole industry, ups, downs, and everything in between.
I like it.
We'll uncover the real deal about different banks, what the vibe is like in different cities,
Okay.
and even how different roles within like the same firm can feel completely different.
Oh, yeah. Night and day.
Okay, and because we're all about getting granular today, we're tackling the big question. What's it actually like for women navigating this field? Spoiler alert, it's not always a smooth ride.
Yeah, it's a really good point and a lot to unpack there.
Ready to dive in?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, let's start with something I bet you've heard whispered in the halls of finance.
Okay.
Are all those big-name bulge bracket banks really all that different from one another?
You know, it's funny you should say that because there's a surprising amount of truth to that, especially as you kind of climb that corporate ladder.
Really?
Yeah, our insider info is revealing that senior bankers often play a game of musical chairs. They hop between these big-name firms.
Oh, wow.
It's like they create this cultural melting pot at the top.
Interesting. So, like, if you're gunning for the C-suite, picking a bank based on culture alone might not be the, like, winning strategy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what our source is hinting at here. It becomes less about the firm itself and more about the specific group you're a part of, the projects you're on, who you're working with day to day.
That makes sense.
But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
There's one big name that seems to play by its own rules. Goldman Sachs.
Okay, Goldman Sachs. I mean, they always seem to have this, like, air of mystery around them. What makes them such an outlier in the world of high finance?
It's really interesting. Our source paints a fascinating picture. They describe their culture as almost cult-like.
Wow.
But hold on, it's not about, worshiping individuals. It's about unwavering loyalty to the institution itself.
So it's less about the people and more about being part of the Goldman legacy.
Exactly.
That's intense.
It is, and this hardcore dedication translates into something very real for anyone considering a career there. Goldman pours a ton of resources into attracting, and more importantly, keeping their talent.
Smart.
We're talking top-notch training programs, clearly defined career paths, and of course, those legendary paychecks.
Right. Everyone knows someone who knows someone, right?
Exactly.
Who's, like, making the big bucks at Goldman.
That's right.
Okay, so we've busted some myths about those Wall Street titans. But what about the other end of the spectrum, the world of boutique firms? There's this, like, widespread idea that smaller firm automatically equals a more, like, chilled-out lifestyle.
Right. That's the image they project a lot of the time. But our insider intel tells a different story. You'd be surprised how nuanced it really is.
So it's not always about trading your power suit for a Hawaiian shirt and calling it a day.
Definitely not. Definitely not. While some boutique firms genuinely prioritize work-life balance, we're talking potentially even better than some big banks.
Wow.
Others can be downright brutal with their demands.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So how can you tell the difference, like, when you're actually exploring your options?
Yeah, that's where research becomes your best friend.
Okay.
You can't just assume boutique equals a more relaxed environment. You've got to dig deeper. Look at the specific firm, the team, the culture. It's about asking the right questions and figuring out if their values really do align with yours.
That makes sense. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Our source spills the tea on a major perk of working at a smaller firm. You get more responsibility right out of the gate.
Right.
You're way more likely to be, like, rubbing shoulders with senior bankers, even clients.
Oh, for sure.
Attending those, like, high-stakes pitches and meetings that someone at a junior level in a bulge bracket might only, dream of.
Totally.
That's huge.
And that's a game changer for your career trajectory. Think about it. Would you rather spend years, fetching coffee, making copies, or dive headfirst into the action? Learn the ropes from these seasoned pros and build your network early on.
Yeah, getting that experience is, like so valuable.
Absolutely.
Okay, time to talk location, location, location.
I love it.
It's no secret that geography plays a huge role in the investment banking world.
Right.
Some cities are just wired for a 247 hustle.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered, like, where those are?
It's pretty clear. But our source confirms what many suspect. New York, Hong Kong, and London.
The trifecta.
They're the epicenters of global finance, and they never really sleep. The deal flow is relentless, the energy is electric, and the competition is fierce.
Our source even shares a story about a Goldman banker in Hong Kong who worked 7 months straight.
Oh, wow.
That's, I don't know if that's dedication.
Yeah.
Or maybe insanity. What do you think?
It definitely illustrates the extreme demands you might face in those key financial hubs.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint of heart.
For sure.
You need stamina, resilience, and a healthy dose of ambition to thrive in those environments.
But for those seeking a slightly, slower pace, there are always those satellite offices, right? They don't regional hubs, smaller markets.
Sure.
Our source suggests these locations tend to be a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But, and this is a big specialization within a satellite office can throw that, like, laid-back vibe right out the window.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine you're working in, like, tech M&A in the San Francisco office. You might be totally slammed, even if the overall office culture is more laid back.
Sure.
It all comes down to the nature of the work and the demands of your specific team.
100%. And that's something people don't always think about.
So it's not always as simple as big city equals crazy hours.
No.
It's more nuanced than that.
It's way more nuanced.
Okay, I like it.
And here's where regional factors beyond just, like, workaholism come into play. Our source brings up a fascinating point about places like Saudi Arabia. Deal flow might be slower, but pay remains high due to factors like tax advantages.
See, that's what I mean. Like, it's so interesting how all these different elements factor into, like, the overall experience, right?
It is.
So it's about finding the right combination of, like, pace, opportunity, lifestyle.
Precisely. It's about understanding the nuances of each location and what drives the lifestyle there. What are the key industries? What's the cost of living? What's the work-life balance like in that specific market? These are all questions you want to ask yourself as you kind of explore your options.
Now let's dive into the, like, nitty-gritty of different roles within investment banking itself.
Okay.
Are there certain groups that are known for being, like, more demanding than others?
Our source is careful not to make sweeping generalizations because every experience is unique. But there's some patterns that emerge when you look at the data and talk to people in the industry.
Okay, so give us the inside scoop. What are some of the trends you're seeing?
So M&A, leveraged finance, and restructuring are generally known for having a faster pace and longer hours. They're often dealing with high-stakes transactions, tight deadlines, demanding clients. On the other hand, industry coverage groups tend to be, relatively speaking, calmer.
But, as with everything in investment banking, there are always exceptions to the rule, right?
That's right. Our source emphasizes that market events can turn everything on its head. Remember that interest rate spike a while back that triggered a wave of bankruptcies? Suddenly, restructuring became the hottest ticket in town, but not for those seeking a 9-to-5.
Right. It's like, trying to predict the weather. Just when you think you've got it figured out, everything changes. So how can someone navigating this world, like, how can they stay ahead of the curve?
The key takeaway here is to be informed and ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to dig deep during your interviews, talk to people in different groups, and get a feel for the day-to-day realities of the job.
Yeah, it's time to, address the elephant in the room.
Right.
The experience of women in investment banking.
Yeah.
Our source gets real about the unique challenges women face in this still very male-dominated field.
Yeah, and it's true. While we're seeing some positive shifts, progress has been slower than many had hoped, especially in certain areas, like trading, which remains a particularly tough nut to crack.
Yeah, it's encouraging to see more women being recruited,
right?
But our source makes a really crucial point. It's not just about getting women in the door. It's about, keeping them there and providing clear pathways for them to rise through the ranks.
Exactly. Retention and advancement to senior roles, that's where the real work needs to be done. And that's where, the lack of female mentors, as highlighted by our source, becomes a critical issue.
Yeah, it's hard enough navigating those, early years in such a demanding career.
Right.
But imagine doing it without those, readily available role models, people who've walked that path before you.
Totally.
That's a real disadvantage.
Absolutely. And it feeds into this cycle where women don't see themselves represented at the top.
Right.
which can make it harder to envision themselves succeeding in those spaces.
And let's not shy away from the, uncomfortable truth here. Our source bravely addresses the issue of inappropriate behavior, which sadly still rears its ugly head, even in the world of, high finance.
It's disheartening, but it's true, that this is still a reality for many women. While stricter protocols and, of course, the hashtag #MeToo movement have brought this issue to light, our source suggests that deeper cultural change is needed to create a truly inclusive and respectful environment.
Totally. It's not enough to just check boxes and implement policies.
Right.
It's about shifting mindsets and creating a culture where everyone feels safe, respected, and empowered to succeed.
100%. And part of that is recognizing the often unspoken pressures women face.
Oh, absolutely.
Our source touches on the kind of added burden of maintaining appearances in an industry that can be incredibly image conscious.
It's almost like there's this unspoken expectation to be one of the guys while also looking the part,
Right.
Which can be exhausting and frankly unfair.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a delicate balance to strike. And it speaks to the complexities women face as they navigate this demanding career path.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for you, our listener? It's clear that the world of investment banking is anything but one size fits all.
Right.
It's a diverse landscape with a kaleidoscope of experiences waiting to unfold.
I like that.
And your journey is going to be shaped by so many things: the bank you choose, the group you join, the city you call home, and even factors like gender that unfortunately still play a role.
Yeah. And it's more than just those things, your personality, your risk tolerance. There are so many factors that go into it.
Totally.
But the important thing is to be informed. Do your due diligence and find that path that aligns with your values, your goals, and your vision of success.
Don't be afraid to ask the tough questions. Seek out mentors who really resonate with you, and never underestimate the power of your own voice to shape the culture around you.
That's huge.
The world of investment banking is evolving, and you have the opportunity to be a part of that change.
Absolutely. You can find a place where you can thrive and be your authentic self. And that's what we want for everyone.
Yes. So as you embark on this exciting, challenging, and constantly evolving journey, remember, knowledge is power. We hope this deep dive has equipped you with the insights and the perspectives you need to navigate the world of investment banking with confidence, clarity, and a healthy dose of ambition.
Couldn't have said it better myself.